Hi guys, it's Kaylin again. I'm back with the weekly book review, and the book I chose this week was The Help. It's written by Catherine Stockett, and it's a fictional novel. It's really cool. I really liked it. One thing I really liked about this book was the fact that it's written in three different perspectives of the main characters. There's three main characters, and the chapters, as you can see, are written from their perspectives. So here's Abelin's perspective, and our next main character is Miss Skeeter, and then our last one is Minnie. So Minnie and Abeline are both black maids who work in white homes in Mississippi. The book is set in Jackson, Mississippi in 1962, so prejudice is still really high. Whites think they're so much more above black people. Black people live in slums and like black neighborhoods. There's black hospitals. Segregation's huge, and there's really just a lot of tension between both groups. In this book, though, Skeeter is the white girl who is driven to become a writer and a journalist, and she gets the chance to write for Harper & Row, which is a huge publishing office in New York City, and she calls up Miss Stein and gets the chance to write, and Miss Stein at Harper & Row wants her to write something unique and interesting. And while Skeeter was at a bridge club gathering at one of her friends' houses, she realized that things between the whites and the blacks down in Mississippi were just really harsh and wrong, and that she felt that the blacks were her equals. Her maid that she was so close to growing up with, Constantine, was like a mother to her, so she viewed other maids as like equals, and none of her friends felt that way. So she had the idea to write a book from actual testimonies and a series of secret interviews of the maids in Jackson, Mississippi, about what it's really like to work as a maid in a white home, and just to share all their stories, good and bad, so that we actually have opinions from real black people, because anything that was even near that was all written from white perspective, and she wanted the other end of the story. So she tries getting help from Abeline, who really kind of refuses at first. She has a bad history and a bad past with whites. Her son was killed in an accident at his job and was basically just dropped off by the white foreman at the hospital and died in her arms. So there's always been like a bitter seed planted there, and she always been super spiritual, and that's what's kept her going this long. And Minnie, her best friend, is like a sass mouth, and she's super like fun and makes everything interesting, but she has a bad run-in with Miss Hilly Holbrook, who basically ruins her chance to get any other careers. So they both agree. After a while, Abeline was the first person to offer up an interview, and she convinced Minnie to do it. They both then got tons of maids to come forward and interview with Skeeter, and the rest of the book after that is basically just about how they publish it and all the problems that were happening coming up to it, and yeah, so just about like how that all was received in the town. Some interesting thoughts that the three main characters brought up to me, and like each one of them kind of like taught me, was bravery, and how it's doing something even though you're scared, which is totally relevant to Abeline, and that's how I learned it, because she was the first maid. If she had gotten caught, she could have been killed, and or worse. Like, she I could not have done that. To stand up against everything you've ever known and like actually try to make a difference in a town like that where prejudice is so strong, that must have been impossible for her, but she still did it, and she was brave. The thing I learned from Minnie was that you can't judge people based on what they look like or what rumors you hear about them. And I got that from Minnie based on her relationship with Miss Celia and how she really didn't like Miss Celia at the beginning, but towards the end she realized how kind she was and how many troubles she had by herself and how she was just a troubled young girl. And then Miss Skeeter taught me that doing what's right might not always be the easiest thing. All of her relationships in the book, her boyfriend, her fiance actually, her friends, even like family, was just torn apart. She had no connections left after that whole incident, and I think it must have been really hard for her, but she did make a difference. And honestly, I thought this book was perfect. I didn't really think there were many shortcomings. I loved it, and I totally recommend it wholeheartedly. And out of 5, I give it 5 because like I said, love the book. I rave about it. My friends ask me about it, and I just can't shut up. And I would honestly read it again. It made me cry, it made me laugh and smile, and it was just whirlwind of emotions. So yeah, that's the book review. Hope you guys liked it. Read it yourself. Bye!